the best of Money Matters. Money Matters with Hongbin Jeong and Chua Chin Chin.
Welcome to Money Matters 2025 Post-Budget Panel Discussion. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jeong. Now, Budget 2025 introduced a slew of initiatives aimed at supporting businesses here in Singapore as they navigate rising costs and an evolving global economy. Prime Minister and Finance Minister Lawrence Wong has outlined key strategies to help businesses manage immediate challenges and scale for future growth. But how do these initiatives impact businesses across different sectors? Are they enough to address the challenges companies are facing today? Or should more targeted measures have been introduced to address underlying issues such as labor shortages, rising operational costs, and global competition? Well, to find out more, joining us today are Chen, Ling, who is the head of corporate banking at DBS, Toby Ko, who's the group managing director at Ademco Security Group, and Vick Aggarwala, who is the president and CEO of Supreme Components International. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Just to get our interview rolling here, what were your thoughts on the measures discussed in yesterday's budget? Ling, maybe we can begin with you.
Sure. When it comes to the budget, the two words come to mind. The first is substantial in terms of the magnitude of the measures and the range of the measures. The other word that comes to mind is strategic because it not only takes care of the present, but really positions SME businesses for the future in terms of their growth and transformation. So three measures come to mind which are quite critical for me. The first is tax relief. The 50% corporate tax relief really gives SMEs that immediate relief to what they need. And many SMEs, when you talk to them, the primary concern is always about rising cost. The second measure that comes to mind will be AI for businesses. The Enterprise Compute Initiative really makes AI tools become a lot more accessible and affordable. So hopefully that will drive the market towards greater adoption and integration. The third is about upskilling support because the workforce needs to change for the companies to be future ready.
Right.
The $10,000 Skill Futures Enterprise Credit Tops Up really helps businesses invest in the people without straining their budgets.
I see. Well, Toby?
Hey, what can I say? Christmas came early. Everyone
Very
received something, right? And it's a super comprehensive budget. I don't think anyone's got anything to complain about it. You know, it's a gift.
I see. Vic, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a very well thought out and comprehensive budget, as Toby said. It is helping to alleviate the high living costs, attracting companies to list on the Singapore Stock Exchange, addressing nuclear power options, and supporting the internationalization for the businesses.
Right. Well, a lot to discuss here. So, I mean, with this 50% corporate tax rebate and cash grant as well, Ling, how do you see these measures, helping businesses, especially smaller firms or those in transition, manage short-term cash flow challenges? I mean, do you see these reliefs, will provide the necessary support to weather the current economic conditions?
When I speak to SMEs, the primary concern has always been around cost. When it comes to rents, labor costs, materials, and cash flow is always the number one concern for SME businesses. So this tax rebate and cash grant will definitely help to ease the pressure. It gives immediate relief because businesses have more cash on hand. It puts cash directly in the pockets of businesses, and that really helps them with their day-to-day expenses. And what the tax support does as well is to provide support for those that are currently in transition. So those companies that are already pivoting, be it digitalization or trying to achieve sustainability or trying to look at ways to invest in overseas businesses. So this relief then allows them to preserve cash flow for them to invest in growth without overstretching. But that said, when it comes to does it provide necessary support, I think this is a stepping stone and not a longer-term solution. But there are other measures in place besides the corporate tax rebates. So what I like is measures that help SMEs plan beyond the immediate, like adopting AI, upskilling the workforce, and to have more sustainable business operations to stay ahead, such as including ways to redesign their workforce, restructure roles, and really look at how they can really expand beyond Singapore.
I see. Well, then how can businesses better utilize government measures like these to not only address immediate financial challenges, but also set themselves up for long-term sustainability and growth, Ling?
Well, the short-term relief is helpful, and I think SME businesses definitely welcome that. But the real opportunity is how to use this period to build resilience and really how to reinvent themselves for the future. So when it comes to reinvesting in technology, we know that many SME businesses have a strong interest in AI. But the question is, how do they adopt it in terms of having the right expertise or right resources? So the budget has measures to help them on technology. And the second part of it is around skill futures. The top-up is really helpful to train employees in AI, digital skills, and really help the companies to transform their businesses. And the last bit is on the financial resilience. Beyond the immediate cash flow relief that businesses have at this point in time, I think it's also timely for businesses to use this opportunity to review their whole financial strategy. Whether is it diversifying themselves to mitigate the geopolitical risk, or whether is it expanding regionally or securing additional financing for their growth.
Right. I mean, the Singapore government is enhancing the progressive wage credit scheme, increasing the co-funding of wage increases from 30% to 40%, aimed at helping businesses manage labor costs. So, Toby, how do you think, the enhanced progressive wage credit scheme will impact companies like yours, especially in terms of managing both labor costs and wage growth for lower wage workers?
Well, definitely wonderful news to every employer who hires staff with monthly wages, right, which is less than 3,000. Definitely grateful for the relief. It will help. But more importantly, I think that it gives companies, right, a longer runway to upskill their lower wage workers. Because eventually, we want these lower wage workers to be making 3,500, 4,000 and more. But that's only going to happen when we upskill them and they can create more value in their output, which is what the security industry transformation map is striving to achieve. With the high wages, right, which benefits my security officers, but also, by deploying more technology, which benefits my security technology business. So overall costs will actually come down eventually for end users. But I would say it would be really great if the payout is quarterly instead of annually. Come on, put the money in our pocket a lot faster, right? And if I may add on, I think that, one of the things, what I think it was really good was, kudos for extending the senior employment credit for the 60-year-olds to the 69-year-old. I mean, up to 70%, right, reimbursement. I think that's great.
I see. Well, Vick, also, as a company that operates in industries with diverse labor needs, how do you view the impact of this scheme on businesses that are scaling up their operations? Do you think that this will, help foster a more sustainable wage structure while allowing companies to invest in growth?
Oh, absolutely. The progressive wage credit scheme is definitely a step in the right direction, especially for businesses that are scaling up. When companies grow, managing labor costs becomes a big challenge, and having the government co-fund wage increases helps this pressure. At the same time, it encourages a more structured approach to wages. Rather than sudden jumps, companies can gradually increase pay in a way that's sustainable. That's important because if wages goes up, without productivity improvements, it could create long-term cost issues. For businesses, this support also means they have more room to invest in areas like automation, employee training, or even market expansion. So in that sense, yes, it does help create a more sustainable wage structure while allowing companies to reinvest in their growth. Of course, it's important that companies still need to be mindful of efficiency and making sure these wage increase signs with performance. But overall, I see it as a helpful initiative. The Budget 2025 also places a strong emphasis on workforce development and talent retention.
Right. Well, we'll dive more into talent retention in just a bit as well. But before we get into that, Ling, how will this year's budget also, extend support for internationalizations and for mergers and acquisitions for SMEs? I mean, why is it important for SMEs to get more support in these areas?
When SME businesses grow beyond a certain point, some SME businesses may find that the domestic market is limited in growth opportunities. So it's really about seeking growth. And what this budget does is it gives the SME businesses a strong runway to expand beyond Singapore. And expanding overseas is not easy. You need expertise, you need knowledge. There's a certain amount of degree of risk that these businesses go through. So lowering the cost of overseas expansion definitely help SME businesses take that first step. And going to a new market is expensive. You need to set up operations, you need to build brand awareness, you need to establish local networks, and all before returns and cash flows comes in. The Market Readiness Assistance, the MRA grant, really means that SMEs can continue to tap on $100,000 per new market to defray the costs. And the cost may come in the form of marketing costs, business development, or general setup costs. I can also see that there are bigger tax breaks for global expansion when it comes to the double taxation for internationalization. So that really allows businesses to claim a tax deduction on these costs as well. And the last bit is on M&As, mergers and acquisitions. Some SME businesses decide that instead of organic growth, which could be slow, they may acquire complementary businesses in these overseas markets. So the NMA scheme extension until 2030 really supports this initiative.
Right. And as we've discussed earlier, the budget 2025 also places a strong emphasis on workforce development and talent retention. Toby, with an increasing focus on fair wages and talent retention here, how does the progressive wage credit schemes increase co-funding, help companies in the security sector attract and retain skilled workers?
Well, firstly, we must understand that we have a perpetual shortage of security officers. The talent pool is small and is diminishing. We don't get a lot of new people coming into the industry. But with the progressive wage credit, I think security agencies will pay more to retain existing talent. And with increased wages, perhaps workers from other industries will find, hey, maybe it's a little attractive, right, to move into the security space. And I think especially since, we're going to move towards not just a manpower-centric, but it's going to be a technology-centric, a hybrid type of solutioning. And that will help to increase, and attract more people into the space. But I would caution that, because a lot of these guarding contracts are term-based. It's at least a year, 2-year contract. And with this budget, every single security officer is going to be expecting a pay raise pretty soon. But I hope that the buyers, of such services, right, are going to have some flexibility for price negotiation. Because imagine, wages going to go up, but the revenue is stuck. It's under the contract. So that's going to be a double-edged sword.
I see. Well, Vick, I also understand that in your sector, retaining specialized talent is key. So how does the government's continued commitment to progressive wage support align with your company's talent development initiatives?
Yeah, to me, I've summed up in 3 areas. Number 1, promote fair wages. Number 2, facilitates long-term growth and encouraging skill upgrading. This scheme certainly makes it easier, but it's up to companies to make sure they're building a workforce that's not just well paid, but well prepared for the future.
Right, I see. Well, as we discussed earlier, Ling, AI has been a big theme in today's landscape. And of course, it was touched upon in yesterday's budget speech. PM Wong announced that up to 150 million Sing dollars will be set aside for a new enterprise compute initiative to enable eligible enterprises to partner major cloud service providers and access artificial intelligence tools and computing power. So ahead of the budget, Ling, I believe a DBS survey found that more than half of SMEs see no need to adopt AI functionalities and solutions, despite almost all SMEs acknowledging that AI will help them increase productivity and processes. So will the support from the budget help more businesses and SMEs to, adopt AI in their operations? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I'm mindful that AI is still an emerging area. I suspect over time, more and more SMEs will see a need to adopt AI functionalities. So AI has a huge potential for SMEs. But the challenge has never been around awareness. It's really around accessibility, around affordability, and around understanding how to use it effectively. The Enterprise Compute Initiative, I believe, is a strong push to bridge that gap. But while the funding is available through the government, I think SME businesses really have to apply it to the business in a very practical manner. So it's not just about funding. It's about SME businesses finding the right technology partners, finding real use cases, finding very industry-specific AI tools and solutions, and having the right support to help them integrate AI into their daily operations, be it to achieve efficiencies or to gain competitive advantages.
I see. Well, Toby and Vick, will you guys be adopting more AI solutions into your operations following this budget statement? What do you think? Toby, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, Ademco has already been investing in AI for years, actually. And, I got to qualify, right? AI is probably the most misused word, in the last 5 years. We just launched our Gen AI initiative, codename Project Turing, after Alan Turing, the father of AI. And we employ a staff just for this purpose. And I believe that Gen AI is a real game changer. And I think that every company must adopt or be left behind, especially in the face of escalating business costs. Gen AI will be the leveler so that the SMEs can outrun the large corporate companies. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I hope that in this grant, the government is going to have a little bit of flexibility. Mm-hmm. They talked about how, they're going to put this with the cloud computing companies, like cloud AI companies like Google's Gemini or Microsoft's Copilot. But there are also many industry-specific Gen AI solutions, which is going to be vital for specific industries to adopt.
I see. Well, Vick, will you be adopting more AI solutions in your operations?
Absolutely, yes. In fact, we have already started building tools based on AI to help us improve productivity and efficiency for both our internal and external stakeholders. And with these incentives, we can further do the AI adoption.
Amazing. Well, as we conclude today's discussion on the Singapore Budget 2025, we've heard about the various measures introduced to help businesses manage, rising costs, innovate, and expand both locally and internationally. So, Ling, do you think the measures introduced will be enough to address the broader challenges, businesses face in a rapidly evolving economic landscape? Do you expect any other initiatives to further help businesses here in Singapore?
The budget provides a very strong start. There is strong support for SME businesses. But having access to funding alone is not enough. I think SME businesses have to think about how do I actually benefit from that funding. And for many SMEs, the challenge is about making it work within their existing constraints, be it the business model, or be it time and financial resources or expertise that they have within these companies. So that will determine the long-term benefits of these measures. In terms of initiatives, I do think that the private sector has to come in. The private sector ecosystems and partnerships can really help to push these things along. And banks, of course, are a very important part of that partnership. I can also think about industry associations and business chambers who are all very keen to provide support for their members in this transformation journey. The other aspect I can think of is access to funding. So that has been addressed in this budget where we see some measures to expand credit and equity markets. So I think we look to see whether more details come out on that. I'm also aware that Enterprise Singapore does maintain its suite of financing schemes, be it for working capital, CAPEX, M&A, overseas expansions. So hopefully access to funding improves, and that will really help SME businesses.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me today.
Thank you for
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
so much.
Thank you. That was Chen Ling, who is the head of corporate banking at DBS, Toby Ko, who's a group managing director at Ademco Security Group, as well as Vick Aggarwala, who is the president and CEO of Supreme Components International. This has been Money Matters 2025 post-budget panel discussion with me, Hongbin Jeong.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.